What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 21, The Return. So, this was exciting. Whew. I realized that the finale was last night, but unfortunately, like I said in a previous review, I fell behind, and I've just now had time to catch up. So, this is the penultimate episode for this season, and a lot of stuff going on. But first, let's talk about what's been going on in the outside world, which is we find out apparently they found the explosion and all of the destruction at S.H.I.E.L.D. And so they were just like, well, what happened? Well, then they found Director Mesa's body, which apparently the Russian had smashed all of his bones to make it look like he'd been quaked to death. Which, how is that even possible? Just, I get that you break all his bones. It's like, oh, well, obviously, but if you used a hammer to do it, wouldn't the hammer marks show up? I don't know. I'll be curious to see exactly how he managed to accomplish that. But ultimately, that has led to General Talbot assuming that there were robots involved, and so as soon as they show up back at the base, he's there with all of his men saying, "Oh, it's robots, kill them!" And we have the typical Talbot moment where they're trying to explain stuff to him, and he just will not listen because it's General Talbot. What more do you expect? But anyway, let's talk about what our team had to go through, because there was a lot of different stuff going on and a lot of really intense and heartbreaking and emotional moments going on in this episode. So first of all, let's talk about Daisy's side of the story. She and Gemma wake up inside the Zephyr, and so they have to work together with Yo-Yo, and the three of them manage to get power back to the ship, which then give them their weapons back so they can destroy the plane that was trying to destroy the Zephyr. And then they managed to make it to the base where the Russian was holding all of the bodies. And that's kind of all that happens there until later. But let's then talk about Coulson and May. They wake up on the base, and they wake up to the Russian, I guess, obviously after what happened with Ada/Ophelia using her inhuman powers to disappear with Fitz. The Russian walks in, and so there's a little bit of a fight, but May is way out of it because of, I guess, how long she was inside of the program. And so she can't really do much, so Coulson has a little bit of a fight. Best freaking scene with Coulson this entire season, because he's sitting there fighting, and he's just like, without your shield, you are nothing. And then all of a sudden, he has his shield arm grabbed, and so he flicks on the shield, and it just right through his freaking head. I'm just like, yes. That was awesome. It's like they're not just for protecting. I'm like, it was such a great scene to kick off the episode. But then they look out, and he had said, before he walked in to see what Ophelia was doing, he had said, "I'm tired of talking to myself." I'm like, what? But there's a person right there. What are you talking about? Maybe because they're not saying anything? Well, Coulson and May look outside, and there are several of him. So apparently they created a ton of LMDs, all of the Russian, and his head is the one controlling it. So he's pretty much become like Ultron, in a way. It's kind of weird. But all they have to do is just destroy his head, and that'll shut all of them off. So it does make it a lot easier to destroy than Ultron. But we do see, they're stuck inside the base, and so they're talking about some stuff. A lot of really good dialogue between Coulson and May, and while it's not a relationship I particularly are like, yeah, I can't wait to see more Coulson and May, it is one that is pretty touching and also pretty funny at the same time, just because, you've got Coulson who, they're both agents, they're both obviously agents, but you've got Coulson who's more of the lighthearted, but also kind of schemer, and then you've got May who's just the warrior. And so seeing them kind of clash but also be together at the same time, it is pretty interesting to watch unfold. And of course, there are several moments where he's talking about stuff that happened with LMD May, and you're just kind of laughing, thinking this is actually pretty funny stuff. But ultimately, the Russian, without Ophelia/Ada holding him back, his programming, having his freedom of choice, he's decided to destroy the base and them inside of it. So he detaches his submarine, starts shooting torpedoes at it, and so everything starts blowing up while they're trying to get out. Well, they manage to get to the top right as the Zephyr's flying in. So they're trying to get onto the plane, but of course Mac is still down there inside of the program. And so we see Yo-Yo's just like, no, I have to go save him, but everything is destroyed. There's no way to get down there. There's no elevator, no stairs, and you see the whole thing just flooding up with water. And so for a second there, I'm like, they're not actually going to kill him, right? Like, there's no way that they could possibly do that. It's Mac. You can't kill Mac, at least not in this way. Not with him still stuck inside the program. No way. Well, then all of a sudden, back on the Zephyr, you see this huge ball of electricity, and then all of a sudden, as it disappears and water comes pouring down, there's Mac with Ophelia and Fitz. And so, to talk about that side of the story really fast, we first see Fitz and Ophelia on the beach, and she's just trying to convince him, that this is what he's wanted, and you can tell throughout the entire episode that she's trying to convince Fitz that this is what he wanted, to be with her, to be together with her, to create something beautiful with her. And so they start off on the beach, and you can see he's still like really just trying to come to grips with everything that happened inside the framework. The fact that if his father were in his life, that's the man he could be. That he has that potential inside of him to become something horrible and just outright evil. And so you see, first of all, once again, Ian de Castecker, however you say his name, once again just showing just how great an actor he is. And this entire second half of the season, he's just been this cold, heartless, evil human being, and now seeing him have to deal with the fact that that's who he is deep down, it's quite a performance. So seeing him having to try to come to grips with that, Ophelia's just trying to convince him, no, that was just in the framework. You're a wonderful man, and just trying to convince him to be with her and all that. So then she takes him to a hotel room that looks awfully like the one that they shared in the framework, and so she's like, maybe somewhere familiar will help you. And then that's when he comes to the realization that I can't remember exactly what she said to tell him that, but he realizes that she had told the Russian had decided to destroy the base, and so the people inside were going to die and all that. So Ophelia, he convinces her to go save Mac, and so that's how she ends up saving Mac. So at this point, all the stories converge, and we see Ophelia and Fitz both get shot by Gemma with the night gun, or what do they call him now? I just remember him as the night gun because that was the first thing that they ever called it. But she knocks him out with that, and so they put them inside of the room that is supposed to hold all the Inhumans. I don't know what that room is called either, unfortunately. But they put them in there back at base, and so that's where they are. So all of them are there. They're trying to decide what to do next. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with Fitz? What are we going to do with Ophelia? And of course, most people are just like, let's just kill her. But Coulson is just like, no, we're not just going to kill. There's been too much killing. So Fitz wakes up and Ophelia is there, and she's once again talking to him, and he's coming to grips with the fact that all of his team aren't really willing to forgive him. At least he thinks. He thinks about the framework. He's like, how could they look at me the same way after all of that? And so he starts talking to Ophelia about all of that stuff and about Simmons, and of course Simmons is watching this whole time, and I'm just like, no, Fitz, no, don't you see, she still loves you, don't give up on her. It's just, most of the time relationship stuff just doesn't interest me, but something about Fitz and Simmons really, really works. Just all of the build up in their relationship, all of the great moments that they've had throughout these 4 seasons, it really makes me care. It really, really, really makes me care about it. And so we do see, she's watching while Fitz is just confessing all this to Ophelia. And then at one point he does say, I don't have room in my heart to love 2 people. And so, of course, Ophelia thinks, oh, he's talking about me. It's just like, oh, I'm here for you, and, all over him. And he's just like, I can't stop caring for her. And she's like, wait, what? For her? And all of a sudden she just gets this look on her face, and I'm just like, oh, that's not what she was expecting him to say. And the next scene, I don't know who she is or who this actress is. I talked about it before, how her actions as Ada were really robotic, and she did a really good job at portraying a robot. And then, of course, seeing her as a human was like, oh yeah, she can act like a human too. You know, it's not just because her acting is so robotic that she's easy to play robot. And so, you know, seeing her as Ophelia for the first part of this episode, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm seeing Madame Hydra slash Radcliffe's wife. You know, I see all of this. Okay, it makes sense. Seeing this scene, I'm just like, okay, so she can also play a very good villain because she just starts flipping out, like completely flipping her shit because Fitz confesses his love for Gemma and not her. And obviously, like everything she went through was because she wanted to feel what Fitz and Simmons did. You know, and I don't really know when this happened. I don't know when she saw that or when she started to want to feel that. You know, because at some point you have to think, okay, well, a robot can't really want to feel anything, right? Like it's not part of its programming. It's not part of what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to want anything. It's just supposed to do what it's programmed. So at what point was it after maybe she read the Darkhold and maybe like that affected her programming? And I guess maybe she looked at what Fitz and Simmons had and like, I want to experience that. And of course, Fitz being the only one to really look at her as more than just an android, obviously that's the one that she wanted to experience that with. And so after everything that she went to just to become human so she could feel what they felt and to be with Fitz, to be turned down by that, it's pretty damaging to her. And you can see that in just how she reacts, how everything goes on after that. You can kind of tell that that really kind of broke her as far as her human emotions go. You know, it's the first time she's experienced a lot of this stuff. And so to experience heartbreak and rejection for the first time, it didn't sit well with her. And it kind of makes you wonder, you know, obviously we can't really feel rejection at a young age because we don't understand that. And so this is the first time she felt rejection, and she's at an older age than an infant or a toddler, even though that's where her emotions are right now. So basically she's just an infant as far as her emotions go in a grown-up body, and experiencing rejection does this to her. So yeah, I don't know. It just I understood it, and they handled it very, very well in its execution. So seeing her do a little freak out is just kind of like, holy crap, well, that's crazy. And so then she tries to escape with Fitz, but of course her powers don't work inside of there. But unfortunately, as we find out from Fitz, those are not the only powers that she had. I kind of figured, but I wasn't sure if we were going to see more of them or not. Well, all of a sudden she whips out her lightning powers, so great. I'm sure that's not going to affect Daisy at all, seeing Lincoln's powers in her. But it does kind of make me wonder, like, did they only build certain rooms for certain Inhumans? You know, because it feels like those rooms were built originally to contain any type of Inhuman, but as we see, it's like, okay, well, that one's supposed to house Gordon's abilities, and yet she uses her lightning abilities, and that short circuits everything. I'm like, it's not able to handle lightning powers? Like, I don't know, it just feels weird that it was only able to handle certain Inhuman abilities. But it short circuits everything, so of course she's going around trying to get Fitz back. It does kind of make me wonder, though, shouldn't she just be able to, like, jump to Fitz's location and then jump away with him? But I guess maybe she's not totally used to using her abilities yet, so maybe she's still struggling to kind of jump to the exact location she needs to. But she manages to kill some of Talbot's soldiers, while, you know, all of the three, like, I don't even know what to call them. They're like a little team that was flying the Zephyr. You know, they're trying to protect Fitz while she's popping up. She kills the black guy. I don't remember his name. And then the white guy is helping Fitz, and then he, you know, well, not really. He and Piper, she's the only one I know for some reason. He and Piper come around the corner shooting down Ophelia, and so he just stays there and continues to shoot her as she slowly just falls down, while Piper takes Fitz into the little module, pops up into the Zephyr, and Fitz, of course, is like, we gotta go, she's not dead yet, we need to leave, she's coming. And so then we see the white guy, after having shot her several times, turn around, and then she, like, stands up. And I don't even know what abilities those are that she uses at that point, but all of the bullet holes just like close up, and then she just starts running at him like. It was really freaky looking the way she ran at him. It almost looked kind of robotic. I'm just like, maybe she's not entirely done with her robot self. Um, so of course, obviously that guy's dead. So Fitz and Piper eventually convince May, who then runs off. They're about to shoot at May, but then Daisy's like, no, don't do that. And so the Zephyr takes off, and we see Talbot like, all right, go check the base, find out what's going on. We then see Ophelia go back to the Russian submarine, and so now they're there, and I guess they're gonna try to take over the world somehow. But I don't really understand most of what they said at the end, like as far as his plan and what they're gonna do to create a new world or something like that. I don't know. Most of it sounded kind of mysterious and vague, so I don't really know exactly what the plan is yet. But clearly they've got some plan to take over the world. But then she's like, "Now make me experience something I haven't before." Rips off his shirt, starts making out with him, and all of a sudden smashes his head into the floor. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's insane, very, very insane. But then of course there's another Russian robot standing in the door. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see him again and again and again and again and again. But of course, Ophelia, now officially crazy. Russian is there helping her in all of his little robot selves. So don't really know what they plan to do, but I assume that'll be in the finale. We see all the team aboard the Zephyr, but then all of a sudden, like, they mention something about Yo-Yo, and it's like, wait, where was Yo-Yo and all of that? Because, that was mentioned. Talbot was like, where's your little Speedy Gonzalez friend? And so it was kind of like, wait a minute, where did she go? And then Daisy's like, oh no. And I'm like, oh no, I realized it too. They run into the room where the little equipment was that hooked up to the framework, and she has injected herself into the framework. Good job, Yo-Yo, good job. So, yeah, now she's in the framework. We see her wake up, and she's inside of some sort of burning building. I'm assuming it's a Hydra facility. And we see her, like, strapped down to a table, and she is captured, and I don't think she's going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, kind of concerning. But yeah, I assume we'll see how her story ends. Obviously she's gonna try to go get Mac back, but I do have to wonder, like, how's she gonna get out? Because we saw that Daisy had to split open the portal with her quake powers. Not really sure how she managed to do that. Like, they never really explained why it worked. But they're not going to be able to get out through the back door because there's been a lava pit over the back door, like, put in there, or programmed in there. So maybe Radcliffe will somehow be able to help him out. But obviously, she's going to go try to talk to Mac and try to convince him to come back with her. Not sure if that's going to happen or not, but that sets up that. And then finally, the final thing we see is Talbot's inside the base looking around, and unfortunately, I did see this coming because I do follow Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Twitter, and so sometimes I have to, like, skip over it quickly so I don't see any spoilers or anything, but one that I saw, like, I saw the picture, I'm like, crap, that spoiled it for me. We see the little portal thing that Coulson and Fitz used to come back from the other dimension, whatever it was. It suddenly starts powering up after Talbot leaves the room. And all of a sudden you see a flaming skull with a jacket on. He just walks through holding the fiery chain, and he just whoosh, 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 wraps over himself. Just like, there's your badass entrance right there. So Ghost Rider is back for the finale. I don't know how he's going to be involved. I don't know exactly what the plan is. So yeah, obviously they've got a very good setup for the finale. I'm not sure if it's a 2-hour finale or not. I know the last couple seasons, I'm pretty sure, have been. So I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what's going to happen. There's so many different things going on that I can tell it's all sort of going to come together in the finale and just all culminate. And it has been renewed for season 5, so that's also something to look forward to. It means that they can sort of leave it on a cliffhanger because, we'll go into next season. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the season finale. I can't wait to watch it. I'm really excited. They do a very, very good job of setting everything up. So that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the penultimate episode? Well, obviously, if you've seen the finale, don't say anything. But before you watch the finale, what were your thoughts going into it? And leave a like and subscribe for future Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'll see you guys at the finale. Peace out.